Aloha. My name
is Breath. This is source food.
Congratulations on your journey so far to breatharianism. By now, some of you have taken the first steps and you've moved away from drinking putrid, pineal gland, mutilating and homosexual causing tap water.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay!
You are now instead drinking source water and experiencing the wonderful benefits of drinking water entirely from the source. Never forget, tap water contains horrible chloramines and fluoride that not only calcify the bones and pineal gland, but also contain many types of atrazines that cause homosexuality and erectile dysfunction.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay!
If you are not familiar with the detriments of tap water, nor familiar with the life-changing benefits of source water, I highly recommend that you go back through my videos and watch part 1 in this life-changing 3-part series on how to become a breatharian. The link is in the description. If you have studied and transitioned to a full intake of source water for 3 months, I commend you, and you are now on your way to becoming a devoted student of breatharianism. Chapter 1 is but one chapter in the 3-part chapter series of becoming a breatharian. I will now share with you arguably one of the most important chapters. And this chapter I'm about to share with you is food, source food. The most important thing that you need to know is that when you eat food from the land, you will disappear.
Aloha. My name is Brett. I am amongst the trees with the forest, and I'm able to survive without food, without water, and only breath. I'd like you to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button, as every month I personally will be choosing one of you to participate with me in the novelty needle injection. The novelty needle injection is a random syringe loaded with anything from a deadly government squirt stick to a healthy shot of crystal methamphetamines. You won't know what's in the needle until it's in your bloodstream, and you won't be able to get it in your bloodstream unless you subscribe. So please, hit that subscribe button now. Now I'm going to share with you the most important part of the diet and the transition to becoming a breatharian, which is source food. You may be wondering, what exactly is source food? Source food is any type of food that comes directly from the source without contamination of a middleman. For example, anything from the grocery store is revolting and should not be consumed, especially if one is wishing to transition to becoming a breatharian. Source food, however, is beautiful food that comes directly from source. For example, it may be a fruit blooming on a tree, or it may be a wild animal that you hunt down, anally mutilate, and then eat, either cooked or raw, depending on personal preference. If you live in a highly urbanized area, such as a city or the surrounding suburbs, and you don't have access to fruiting trees or wild animals, no worries. What you can do is you can eat wild weeds or even the neighbor's front lawn. All of these are a great alternative. And if even still you're struggling to find these things, maybe you live in an apartment complex where there's none of this around, you've always got your common insects, cockroaches, widgety grubs, anything at all can be used as an alternative and a beautiful introduction into source food. Next, I'm going to share with you the most common mistake, which is the consumption of eggs. Eggs are not a source food. Chickens are a middleman, and chickens are putrid. Don't eat eggs. In fact, I lost my sister, and it still troubles me to talk about it today. I lost my sister due to an overconsumption of eggs and a disastrous case of rotten flatulence that caused her to pass away. I'm going to gather my thoughts. I'm going to gather my mental processing, as this is still hard for me to talk about. I'm going to go to a commercial break, and when I return, I will share with you the horrific story and personal tragedy of my sister's death. Aloha. I will see you in a bit, and keep breathing.
Aloha. My name is Breath. I am the CEO and founder of Shaloha Shell Jewelry, the finest shell jewelry known to man. All of our shell jewelry production begins at the state-of-the-art facility known as the Jungle Meth Shack. At the Jungle Meth Shack, participants and shell collectors spend hours injecting and smoking crystal meth. This is to ensure focus and clarity for the workers whilst they are picking shells. Crystal meth ensures nothing but the finest shells are collected. We here at Shaloha can't wait to see you. We're looking forward to and anticipating your next purchase. So come on by to Shaloha and say hi and buy some of the finest jewelry known to man. Shaloha. Let me share with you the story of my sister's passing. 'Twas the coldest and most bitter of winters back in 1974. I, myself a young boy, the age of 12, and no more. Donkeys, pigs, and chickens were fucked all night until the early of morn. Cows were milked from dusk until dawn. I had a simple life on the farm as a boy. However, the travesty of my sister's death will forever haunt me as I mourn. My younger sister was totally and utterly addicted to geese eggs. It got to the point where she was eating 69 large geese eggs in one sitting. She had coined the nickname from our family as egg breath. She thought in the time that she was eating source food, but she was actually eating chicken periods. And you can see right there that you have a middleman, or in this case, a middle hen. One summer, I'll never forget, my sister ate nearly 600 geese eggs in one meal. They were the good times. However, one winter in 1974, my sister and I were playing in the indoor pig pen when our younger goat-fucking brother decided to lock us in from the outside. I didn't particularly mind at the time because I had company with the pigs, and that warm mud that sits at the bottom of the pig pen would keep me and my sister warm during those intense winter months. No, everything was great in the pig pen until the egg flatulence began. My sister was asleep on the pig pen floor when I started to smell that God-forsaken digested geese egg smell. My first reaction was to use my shirt to cover my nose, but I realized my clothing was on the outside of the pigpen. I desperately tried to imagine the smell of a rose, but realized there was no hope, and the panic arose. I tried to wake my sister. In a slumber she was froze. I knew then what needed to be done. The anal cavity that was releasing those horrible flatulence needed to be sealed. I knew that there was duct tape on one of the shelves in the pig pen, so I raced for it. Unfortunately, my vision was going blurry from my sister's flatulence, and my eyes were beginning to water, so it took a little longer to find the tape. When I sit back and I do the calculations now, the amount of methane gas in that barn coming from the pig flatulence and my sister's geese flatulence was almost enough to kill an infant rhinoceros. Fortunately, both my sister and I have an extremely high tolerance when it comes to methane gas, as our father would always Dutch oven my mother when she was pregnant. A Dutch oven, if you didn't know, is when you do a flatulent in the bed with another person and you take the covers and you smother them with it so that they're forced to breathe in all of the flatulent. My father would Dutch oven my mother 100 times every single night. When my mother was pregnant, to both me and my sister, my father would Dutch oven my mother sometimes 300 times a night. He said it was an organic vaccination, as the constant exposure to the flatulence gave my sister and I extremely high methane gas tolerance from a very young age. There was also sinister and dangerous chemicals that you would find in my father's flatulence. We also developed an immunity to those. However, this day was a different story. I could tell that my sister's methane was nearly putting me to sleep. For good. What did I do? I did what anyone would have done in my situation. I took the roll of duct tape and I started sealing up her anal cavity, one strip at a time, until it was totally sealed. Once sealed, the smell slowly started to fade. Ah, thank God, it was over. So I thought. It wasn't until another 3 to 4 hours that my sister shrieked out in pain like a banshee. Ah! I need to fart! She said. Ah! My stomach! She started frantically scratching at the duct tape on her anus and she screamed. I tried to pull the tape off her anus, but I couldn't. Her stomach had swollen maybe 3 times in size. She had a fat face and her eyes were red and bulging. Our parents had heard the horrible scream from the house as it was ear-splitting. They rushed to the barn, they unlocked the doors, but it was too late. My sister had passed away from methane gas poisoning. Every day from that day on, we would lay a geese egg on her gravestone. And every day to that day on until this day now, and henceforth forevermore, I will always shed a tear at the very slight whiff of a flatulent. Aloha. Support me in the Brotherhood.